I'm Aurelia Rex, and this is Numbers Advantage, the stories of professional League of Legends told through numbers. At the end of the spring split, Cloud9 went out with a whimper.
Now Lemon gets caught.
After the loss, midlaner High retired and Incarnati0n takes his place, but will swapping out a, quote, supportive midlaner change Cloud9's play? Let's look at the numbers to understand what we're looking for in Incarnati0n's debut. When C9 loads onto the Rift next, they'll face TSM, their lone nemesis in NALCS. Here, we have the closest you'll get to parity in this league, so I'm going to isolate their data to show you first how the teams approach mid lane differently, second, what I'm looking for when Incarnati0n debuts, and third, a trap that you should avoid when analyzing Incarnati0n's first match. Okay, let's start with the data points. Over the last 3 splits, Cloud9 is ahead of TSM 12-10, but all that really matters is that we're talking about a close rivalry, so the stats should be illustrative. The addition of a carry mid laner can change the whole look of a team.
Hello, oh my word! Whoa.
And so Cloud9 has added Incarnati0n to add that edge to their own game. But I want to show you how C9 and TSM have succeeded and failed in the mid lane in the past. The best way to do this is actually kill participation. In these games, High comes in at 71.5% kill participation.
I'm gonna give it to High.
Bjerg shows off a rate of 80%.
Oh, first blood coming out!
But to really understand the difference in playstyles, you need to separate the numbers into wins and losses. In Cloud9's wins, High participates in 74.2% of kills, but in their losses, he only participates in 64.8%. It seems natural to assume that a, quote, supportive mid laner like High would maybe split push to impact games.
He's going. There we go. He's going to try and sneak in the back door.
And then making things happen elsewhere on the map would be key to success. But actually, Cloud9 struggles when they can't get High involved in the action of the game. Conversely, let's look at the mid laner on the other side.
But even with 4 legs, he can't tiptoe out of that one.
Remember, Bjergsen has an 80% kill participation rate, but in wins in this series, that actually drops to 78.1%. In losses, it rises to 86.3%. So again, natural to assume that a carry mid laner would do best when the action really centers around him. But what we find is that TSM's biggest struggles come when they can't make things happen elsewhere. So what does this have to do with Incarnati0n? Well, we've yet to see how Cloud9 will adjust their team style. Will they focus attention on him and have huge expectations of him, perhaps to the detriment of the rest of the map? Or will they treat him more like High and just trust that superior mechanics will make it easier for him to get involved in later stages of the game? So second, when we see the next iteration of Cloud9 and TSM, what do we need to look for? You guessed it already. It's kill participation. Possibly the biggest challenge will be integrating Incarnati0n into possibly the most coordinated roster in the West. So will superior mechanics make it easier to keep him involved, or will the drop-off in communication negate the mechanical jump? Of course, we should always apply the eye test. We want to see how many ganks they give Incarnati0n, how much attention they give him, but the number I think will tell the story best will be that kill participation rate. Okay, so last thing, real quick, one pitfall to avoid. If I asked you how much more gold does TSM pour into Bjerg than C9 does into High, what would your answer be? I'm going to guess you're wrong. Over 22 games, High earned 296,547 gold. Bjergsen earned 296,017 gold. Over 3 splits, 530 gold separates the two. Of course, that's not quite as illustrative as percentage of team gold, but even still the gap is less impressive than you're imagining. Over this sample, High got 21.9% of his team's gold, Bjerg got 23.3%. It's a difference of 1.4. So yes, Bjerg does take more, but I wouldn't say it's monumental. So the pitfall I would not get too worked up about when analyzing the Incarnati0n start is trying to figure out the gold percentage that he consumes. All told, the Incarnati0n debut has the potential to have the most impact on the broader picture of the NA scene since Piglet came over to the West. So let's look at it intelligently. If you want more League content focused on statistics and the stories they tell, I can do that. 2 clicks, a like, and a subscribe will get you what you're looking for. I'm Aurelia Rex with the Numbers Advantage.